Good Mom and Monday.
You're here with the Mistaken Mama podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Mandee.
And we are your hosts. This week, we're going to be talking about what it's like to be a stay-at-home mom, why we chose it, and how we're doing now.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about... Nope, I didn't. I don't.
The bloopers for this episode are going to be unreal.
Okay.
I said, where?
But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about our mom wins, mom fails.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with your mom/wife fail of the week.
Well, for starters, you've got a fern on your head. So this week, my mom fail is something that I don't think a lot of people want to admit to. And it's something that I'm really embarrassed to admit to myself. But I know that it's something that we need to talk about more because it's reality. I had my daughter up on our bed and she's only just now starting to learn to crawl. Mm-hmm. And it's more like that army crawl where she drags herself across the floor. And she hasn't really demonstrated that she can do that very well on the bed. So I stepped away from her for a minute. Mm-hmm. She was in the middle of the bed. Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that by the time because I literally went to the other room to grab her jammies that were sitting on top of the laundry basket. I was gone for maybe 15 seconds.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I hear a thud and a cry.
Oh no.
Thankfully our bed is only a foot off the ground.
Yeah.
And she was... Thankfully our bed is only a foot off the ground and she was okay. I picked her up and she was, immediately fine when I put her in my arms. But she cried and I felt really bad. And she didn't hit her head or anything. And we have indoor cameras, by the way. It didn't catch it because of course not.
Of course.
It didn't. This is also the second time she's fallen off the bed.
Yeah.
The first time was 100% my fault. I had laid her on the edge of the bed. Not the edge, but she was sitting perpendicular.
Right.
To the bed, and I was about to change her diaper. I walked away to grab the diaper. I was still in the same room.
Yeah.
Literally just a few feet away, and she was doing the thing where she would kick her legs, and she she'd kick her legs, and she was just scooting herself off the bed, and I didn't realize, and then she just kind of rolled herself off. She didn't hurt herself then either.
Right.
But I felt like shit. I felt like a crap mom. Mm-hmm. And this week it happened again. And so now we're not putting her up on anything now because we're okay, cool.
Right.
You can do this now.
Yeah. That's kind of my mom fail of the week too. Quincy has learned how to roll. She can roll now.
Oh God, how did you find that out?
She rolled off the couch.
You know what that reminds me of? Have you watched Grey's Anatomy? Mm-hmm. When Sloane is with his daughter and then sets her on the couch and then all of a sudden she's under the table or something. Yes. It's oops, she learned how to roll.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah. So my husband actually was the one who laid her down on the couch. Mm-hmm. I was in the kitchen. He came into the kitchen. We do this all the time. We lay her in the middle of the ottoman. Mm-hmm. I've seen her. Fine.
Totally fine.
And he was actually at the sink and you can see the couch from the sink. Mm-hmm. And
yes, I can confirm.
All of a sudden he turns around to me and then has wide eyes and he's like, "She's on the floor." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I think she just fell off the couch." And then she kind of cried for half a second, but was totally fine.
Mm-hmm. And your ottoman's foot off the ground too.
Yeah. It's a very low ottoman and we have a really plush rug underneath it. Do. So she was totally fine. I think it freaked Michael out a little bit more than it did me. Maverick had fallen off the bed a couple of times when he was little. Mm-hmm. And it was when we had our high bed actually.
Oh, I remember that.
Thankfully both times he landed on the really cushy dog bed. That already gave me a okay, this happens to babies. Mm-hmm. Granted, I still felt terrible that she rolled off the couch, but she hadn't been rolling. She had rolled one time prior to that and then hadn't rolled for several days. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, maybe that one time was a fluke and she's still not rolling over. Mm-hmm. So now we're very cautious about where we put her.
Yeah. You get that way.
Yeah.
You do. And it starts with you can't put them where they can roll side to side. Mm-hmm. And then you try, okay, well, let's try that perpendicular. And then they start kicking, and that's how I ended up the first time she fell off. And then it's when they start to crawl.
Yeah.
And that's why we went with the shorter bed, is because I knew that, that was going to be a possibility, and I wanted to make sure that it was at least as safe as it possibly could be. At one point in time, we actually had our bed on the floor.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Let me see.
So at one point in time, we had our mattress on the floor because Anna, my oldest, she was starting to learn how to crawl, and she had almost crawled off the bed. And so we were like, we have this cheap ass, like, you're going to know exactly the type of frame I'm talking about. It was like black metal. Basically, it's just like the bare minimum. It's usually on wheels.
Yep.
And you always hit your shin on the corner.
Yep.
Those. I had that.
Yep.
So we were like, I don't even care. We don't store anything under the bed. I don't really care anymore.
Right.
So we put the whole dang mattress on the floor. And we did that for a while. And it was great because Anna learned how to crawl on and off the bed with just that little tiny, dip. And that was actually one of the best ways that we found, for her to learn that, that there's a dip there.
Yeah.
Without it being dangerous. And then so when we finally put our bed on the frame that we currently have now, after about a year of having that bed on the floor, she was actually very cautious getting off of it and would go down backwards.
Oh, okay.
So that's how she learned that. Damon learned by falling because that was that was what we had at the time.
Yeah, that sounds about how Maverick learned. But we got a lower bed because he fell off twice, and I said I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep, I remember that conversation.
Our bed was it was pretty high. I mean,
it was.
You guys can't tell where the floor is.
I'm like 5 foot. Okay.
Yeah.
And her mattress itself was higher than my butt.
Yeah, it was on a log bed, and so the logs that were down on the bottom, I would step onto them to get onto the bed.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't, it was like a jump.
Yeah. Oh, it's a tall bed.
Yeah, I really liked the bed, and I liked the bed frame. Granted, it was a queen. We wanted a king, and we also wanted something a lot lower to the ground.
Yeah. And we have just like an IKEA frame, is, what we have and what we're doing. And it works really well, and I really like how low it is. It was an adjustment, but I mean, it was less of an adjustment than I think. You can totally see when I flare my nostril. But I'm sure it wasn't as big of an adjustment as it was for you, because for us, we had been going all the way to the floor.
Right, yeah.
Now we weren't going quite to the floor.
Yeah. Easier to get up, and it was easier to get into bed versus that really high one where it was, you had to climb up and you kind of had to drop off.
Anyway, so those were that was a mom fail.
Yeah. Okay, so now I think we should get past the fails and get into the wins.
Yes.
So what was your mom win of the...
Not her. Last week, my husband took the kids to the library, and my oldest, she's kind of got this sense of independence where she almost doesn't want to listen anymore. And she ran away from him, and he didn't know where she was. It was really scary. I know it sounds like a fail, but it's coming. I promise.
Okay.
When she got home, we had a really long conversation about why it's important, and we explained to her about stranger danger when we're not around. Her teacher, the library teacher, the storytime person.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is kind of maybe a word of caution for you. Told her that it was okay to leave the room. And she was like, well, I don't know where my dad is. And the teacher was just like, it's fine. He'll know where you are. Which, I mean, technically, yes.
Because she was in the building.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still not a fan of that.
Not a fan. And so, and she had a decent explanation. She's like, well, my library teacher said that I could.
Right.
And so we had a really long conversation talking to her about, it doesn't really matter what other adults say. It has to do with what mommy and daddy say. And we explained to her about how quickly somebody could take you. We did an exercise where we had her walk out of her room, and dad picked her up and snatched her and tickled her. So it was a positive experience.
Yeah.
We were how fast that happened? She's like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't even see you get taken though. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
So we were able to, in words that she could understand in a way that wasn't scary to her, explain how important it is to listen to mom and dad and make sure we know where you are.
Right.
So I'd say that was a win.
I'd say that's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always get kind of scared of that because sometimes kids, it's another adult, so they figure, I should listen to this adult. They're telling me that it's okay and they're bigger than me, so it's probably fine, but it just takes that wrong adult to steer them in the wrong direction.
Exactly.
So good job.
What's yours?
My mom win is that, except for like, I think only one night this past week, both of my kids have been asleep by 9:30, which for us is like great. Amazing.
That is really good. Oh, I know.
And that even includes Maverick has taken a couple of naps and still gone to bed by 9:30.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's so nice.
For reference, there were some nights where they wouldn't be going to sleep till like midnight.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I could be texting her all night long and she would be responding because she'd be awake.
Yeah.
And so would her kids.
Yeah. And a lot of times he'll take a nap and he'll take like an hour or two nap and then he won't go to sleep till midnight. But lately, if he does nap, I try to only let him nap for like half an hour. And then I get him up, except I don't let him nap at all past like, I would say 5 o'clock. Because that's really when we get into the, okay, we're up till midnight. Cool. I don't mind staying up till midnight, but I don't want to stay up with the kids till midnight.
Yeah, I get that. I can feel that a lot. So the last thing before we get like deep dive into the episode, what are you reading this week?
I am reading the last book of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I always have a hard time saying that,
Me
so
too.
I have to say it really slow.
I have a hard time saying the acronym too. I took her.
Yeah. A Kotar?
A Kotar. Yeah, a Kotar.
Yeah. I just sound dumb saying that, so I don't say that.
Same.
And I'm also reading Kaylee's new book, Kate.
Yes.
She's still going through the editing process.
Yes.
And so I'm helping her kind of find like little things here and there. But so far really good. I'm a little over halfway now. I think I'm on chapter 24. And things are getting good. Yes. Getting kind of
You have
crazy.
What, 15 chapters left, I think.
Okay.
So I'd say you're more than halfway. Well,
Yeah.
percentage-wise, you might be right around. 'Cause
I
the last
think it
chapters are
says
pretty
like
long.
54% on my Kindle.
Yeah.
So.
The remaining chapters are all longer
Yeah.
chapters. Like, I think closer to like 16 pages each.
Okay.
Give or take. I mean, granted, on a Kindle, it's going to look different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially on my phone because it's less pages and stuff.
For those of you that are listening to it now, though, it's not out yet.
Right.
Not out yet.
A
Soon.
month from now? From when this will play?
I think so.
Yeah, so those are the books that I'm reading right now. I don't usually read 2 books, but it's not bad.
Oh, I do.
I find that I've been reading your book before I go to bed, and then I read my book like while I'm in bed.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't mind falling asleep to mine, but yours I'm really trying to be in it, especially because I'm trying to find things. So I don't want to be like sleepily reading your book.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah. So what are you reading this week? Or
So
this month?
I'm still reading The Takeover.
Okay.
That one is an audiobook, though.
Oh, right.
And so that one I can only listen to at certain times because I need to be paying attention to my children.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy to just kind of get away from that. But I am also now reading Things We Never Got Over
Okay.
by Lucy something, I think.
Right. I think
It's like
I've
the
seen
blue
that
book
one.
with the flowers.
Yep.
That one. We all know the cover of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just started reading that
And
one.
what is that one kind of about? A little
I don't know
synopsis?
yet.
You don't know yet?
No.
Okay.
I try not to read what they're about.
Yeah.
It just, if it catches my interest or if somebody's like raving about it, then I'm like, let's just go.
Right. Yeah. I'm kind of that way too.
I also try not to read trigger warnings. That has come to bite me in the ass a couple times.
How so?
So when I went in to read Haunting Adeline, I didn't look at a single trigger warning. That's a very intense book.
Yeah.
There,
I've heard. I haven't read it.
Yeah. I have the physical copies if you want them.
Okay.
It's also on Kindle Unlimited. But I didn't read the warnings. I don't like reading the warnings. I want to be surprised.
Got you. Fair enough. I guess.
But they're intense books. Sometimes you
I
gotta read
probably
them.
wouldn't want to. I have heard. The reason I haven't read it is because I was going to read it right about when I had Quincy and I was told to not. I know. I saw that.
Mom win right there.
Yay.
But yeah, I like it. And hey, that's actually kind of that actually kind of ties in a little bit as a stay-at-home mom.
True.
Because I would say that as a stay-at-home mom, we maybe get a little bit more time to read than maybe a working mom might. Only because during the daytime we can do the dishes during the day. We're not stuck doing them in the late afternoon. And so we can, we have downtime throughout the day.
Right.
Versus only at a specific time.
Yeah.
But you were saying earlier that you read my book before bed and then you read a different book in bed. Do you find that you do most of your reading in the afternoon, or do you kind of see it sporadic?
I find that I mostly do it in the evening, but if I'm like invested, or if there's a part of a book that's like, we're really intense and I need to know exactly what's happening, I'll catch myself trying to read it throughout the day.
I'm the same way.
It's just hard because I like to read and be in it.
Me too.
And so if I'm reading and then every 5 minutes I'm interrupted, I'm not in it.
Yeah.
Or I'm annoyed and frustrated, and then I kind of get like snappy with the kids. So I'm like, I'm just not going to.
Yeah. I found that I kind of fall into that trap a little bit too. There are certain books where I'm like, I become hyper invested, and just like you with like, I want to read it like all right now. Yeah. I am turning off my guided access so I can turn bubble guppies off. Sorry. Incorrect passcode. Of course it is. Well, we're just going to let bubble guppies go do its thing.
Okay. But yeah, so I do most of it in the evening, and that's kind of like me time. That's why I don't like when the kids are up till midnight. Because I'm like, no, that's when I need to read my book. And then after midnight, I'm too tired.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ooh, I want to take a coffee sip. Hold on. Excuse me. So then, in addition to, all the downtime that we have as stay-at-home moms, because one, I think we just kind of made it sound like we have a lot when I know that we don't.
I was going to say, I don't want to give all the stay-at-home moms a bad name. Like, we just have all this mass amounts of downtime.
Mm-hmm. And it comes in waves.
It does.
Like, I feel like there'll be some days where I, like, have to do the bare minimum. Like, the dishes got done, the, kids decide they want an easy lunch, and they're deciding to not try to kill each other today.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how much of that you've started experiencing yet, though I know that you've gotten little blimps whenever he's been around other kids.
Not so much with her and him.
Yeah.
Because she can't really retaliate.
She's not quite there yet.
So it's mostly him trying to do stuff to her and me being like, no.
Yep. Yep. So I put Ellie in her bassinet the other day, and I walked away because I needed to go to the bathroom. I come back. Guess who's also in the bassinet? Damon. I should have took a picture of it because it was so cute. He was just cuddling her. She was fine. She wasn't loving it.
Right.
Because she was like, get out of my space. But it cracked me up. But like, on a normal day-to-day, like at my house, for example, my oldest, she kind of fends for herself most of the day. Yeah. She's like, she'll be playing with a multitude of different things. And we kind of have a schedule for her where she does like school, because we homeschool her. We do school twice a day, one at like 10:30-ish and then one at like 2 p.m. And it's only for about an hour each day, or each time, give or take 45 minutes to an hour. That was the phone call Dad was trying to do. He was trying to do homework, trying to do schoolwork.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
But for the most part, when she's not doing that, she can, do her own thing. And Damon is kind of at that age too, where he now starts to do his own thing, but he can't really talk very well.
Right.
So he doesn't know how to communicate what he wants, needs, doesn't likes, whatever. And so they fight a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I see that with Maverick, with me. He'll try to be telling me something that he wants to go do, or he wants me to come help him with, and I don't get it. And yeah, he'll argue with me about, what he wants me to do and what he wants me to help him with. And because I just don't understand. And sometimes I can get him to like, okay, show me what you're trying to do. And then I can figure it out. Other times he's just like, no. And I'm just like, then I can't help you. I'm sorry. And I feel bad. And I remember, I think it was a teacher or something. They told me, or maybe, anyway, it doesn't matter. I heard from somebody that when a kid is trying to talk to you, that you shouldn't ever say, I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Because I am at fault for doing that.
Yeah, I do it sometimes too. But that's really stuck with me. So I really try hard not to. And apparently it like ruins their confidence in trying to speak. And then eventually they won't like I don't know. I don't know the science behind it because it was just, apparently I can't even remember who said it. It was a random person who told me. So I try really hard not to do that, but it's not always easy because sometimes I get to a point where I'm literally like, I don't know. So I try to say instead, like, I'm trying to understand you. Try to say it again. Can you show me what you're trying to say?
Yep, show me is like our number one thing that we say.
To lose my shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I feel that a lot. Show me is like my number one thing that I go to if I'm like, what are you saying to me? I'll just be like, why don't you show me?
Yeah.
And then he'll go, and then he'll run away and he'll bring back something.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I feel like Damon's really good about showing you.
Yes, he is. He always has been.
Yeah. Maverick, it's hit or miss. But Damon, I've noticed he's eager to show you. He's like, no, come here.
I think because it's the quickest way. Whoops. It's the quickest way for him to be able to communicate what he's trying to do, because I think he knows I have trouble understanding him. I know that I have trouble understanding him. Right. And so I think it's the easiest way for everybody to just get what we need right away. And so sometimes he won't even like tell me what he wants. He will literally just go and get whatever it is and then be like,
Yeah. I've noticed when I've been around him, he'll just like grab my hand sometimes and like pull me to the thing and then.
Yep. It's just so much easier. It cracks me up when he does the thing where he's like not saying anything, but he's enthusiastically pointing, for those of you listening to the podcast and not watching the YouTube. He will just like enthusiastically point at something without making a single sound, with like the most happiest look on his face.
Yep. But his cutest thing that I think he does is when he goes,
Yeah. He gets so excited when you understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It cracks me up every time.
Oh gosh. Okay, so as far as like being a stay-at-home mom goes, what would you say is like a typical day for you?
Typical day. Well, we usually start our day around 8:30. That's been the last month or so. That's been about when both of them will wake up.
Same.
And then we usually start our day. We put on like music in the morning, and then I'll make breakfast. I clean up. I do like whatever last night's dishes were, or the whole day's last dishes.
Yeah. Depending.
Cleaning up the toys if I didn't the night prior. We vacuum every day because we have 2 large dogs.
Yes, you do.
Hair everywhere.
I can confirm.
You guys probably, if you're watching the YouTube, will always see dog hair on me.
Well, maybe not. If we're up in the contrast, they might not see that at all.
Okay. Well,
depending
it's
on what
there.
It's there. My socks can confirm.
Yes.
And so can my baby every time I put her in the living room.
Yeah. So we'll usually do that, and then we usually eat breakfast. By the time all that's done, it's probably like, I would say 10 o'clock. That's usually about
when you guys do breakfast.
Everything's done usually by 10.
Okay.
And then throughout the day, it's mostly playing, cleaning up, cleaning up.
Yep.
And then if there's anything else that I need to be doing, I try to give myself once a week like a bigger cleaning job. So whether that's the bathroom, whether that's dusting the living room, whether it's, you know, organizing the kids' clothes or toys or whatever, I try to do something big every week. Sometimes more, but I try to give myself just a week, especially now that I have 2.
Yeah. It gets chaotic after a while.
Yeah. And then nap time is my favorite.
Same. Although only one of my 3 naps.
Yeah. Does Anna do quiet time though?
No.
Oh, okay.
I tried.
Yeah.
They will. Okay. Actually, since we've put a TV in their room, which we were so reluctant to doing, we only recently did a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And it was after we had Ellie, because they would like want to watch TV in the living room. But I do a majority of my work in the living room. And if Ellie's going to take a nap 9 times out of 10, it's in the living room in her bassinet. And we were like, okay, well, I guess we could put him in our room. But like when we watch TV, you know, we have like, we're logged into like all of our stuff and whatever. And I was like, oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting a second TV from my mom. She gave us one because they upgraded. And so we just like, you know, whatever, it's the same TV we already have. So we put that into their room. We originally had it in ours. We had dual TVs in our room so that Thomas could like play a video game while I was like watching a movie or something.
Oh, okay.
And we're like, we never used it. We used it for that purpose like maybe once or twice. I mean, it was in there for like 6 months. Literally just being a second screen that was just up on the wall right next to the other one. We looked bougie.
Yeah. But you weren't even using it.
Exactly. And so we were like, let's just try it. So we put it in their room and we limit how much they can watch TV in their room. Mm-hmm. Typically it's like a movie during the day and then sometimes we'll turn something on at night.
Yeah.
Especially if she's like being my youngest, being difficult to put to sleep. Sometimes we'll be like, hey, why don't we just go turn a movie on for the older two so that they're at least quiet so we can get her to sleep and then we can get them to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of use it as like almost a rotation tool.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what we try to do. And so like their quiet time usually consists of like watching a movie in their room.
Yeah.
Thankfully, which they now do once a day-ish, give or take.
That's about what I do for Maverick. If he doesn't nap, that's usually how the nap happens, is because he has quiet time in our room. Because again, he doesn't have a TV in his room, like you were kind of saying.
Yeah.
So we just put him in our room, and he'll usually watch a movie, sometimes two, depending on how the day's going. But yeah, we try to limit him to on his television. Television.
Only $17.99.
Okay.
27 payments.
I can't. Okay. We try to limit him too on his television usage. But I like to use it as a tool because when he's having like crazy time, when he's feeling overwhelmed, he's getting mad at everything that's happening. He's getting frustrated with his toys because they're not working. He doesn't want to talk to me about it. He's just having a meltdown. That's kind of like okay, I think you need some quiet time.
Yeah.
And he is 100% down. And so then he goes into my room, he'll watch a movie, and then usually that's when he'll fall asleep.
Yep. I find that Damon does that sometimes. Sometimes he's like just invested in whatever he's watching. Other times I'll come in and he'll just have put himself to sleep, not just like fallen over and fallen asleep.
Yeah.
No, he will then cover himself up and lay down in his bed and be like, peace out.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, he's not having a tantrum and I'm like, ooh, let's reward you with TV.
Yeah. No, I get it.
It's more so like he's having a hard time throughout the day. I notice there's like usually a chunk of time right when nap time should be where he's just having a rough time. And so we have outlets as adults, you know, when you're super stressed out and you just are like, I just need some time to myself. What do? I flip on a TV show or I open my book, you know? So I find something for him like that. And he enjoys movies. So that's what he watches. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like you're turning on some like insanely crazy show, I would imagine.
No.
No.
I avoid those at all costs.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it's like, my two favorites for like in times like that are Bluey and ironically enough, Blue's Clues.
Oh.
The Blue Dogs. They're just coming in clutch.
Yeah. I would love if Maverick liked Bluey because it's a very calming show to me. But he doesn't care for it. He always says, no.
Oh my God.
He really likes, and I don't know if you've seen this one yet. It's Little Bear on Amazon Prime.
Maybe.
It's like a bear, a goose.
Oh, what?
An owl.
Isn't that an older show?
Very old.
I think I used to watch it as a kid. Yeah.
He loves it, and it actually has like pretty good lessons in there, and it's super low stimulating.
Yes.
I love it, and he loves
those
it.
Shows.
He'll watch like 4 episodes in a row and still be like calm. Because we let him watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse before. We don't do that so much anymore. Every once in a while he can, but for some reason that show for him is like a trigger to just be psycho. I hate calling my kids psycho.
No, there are certain shows though that I feel like, especially if they have a lot going on, a lot of color, which is one thing I like about Bluey, is it's very muted. Yeah, the colors are not like bright blue, you know. And when it comes to like Blue's Clues, I actually only like the seasons with Steve. Yeah. Everything else tends to be almost too upbeat. Whereas Steve, he's very chill, very calm. Like cool, I don't like the new movie because I think the two. I didn't
know there was a new movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
All right. Well, now I know.
Steve is in the new movie. Oh. Only very briefly, and it is like almost a little bit emotional if you were like
a Blue's Clues kid.
Yeah, because he turns to the camera and he's like, it's you.
Oh,
It's to the adults, 100%. But I saw it and I was like,
cool.
oh my God.
He's talking to me.
So funny. Why am I getting emotional?
I
Steve.
totally get that though. Yeah.
I can see it in your eyes too.
You're getting me emotional. I hate when you cry because it makes me cry.
It is. It's so emotional. You'll have to look. Just look up go on YouTube and just look up this Steve scene in the new Blue's Clues. It's like Blue's Clues live in New York City or something like that.
Okay.
Live in the city. It's that.
Okay.
It's designed to be that he never forgot us. But and so I just really like Steve, nostalgia wise. But the other two, I think Steve's cousin is who takes over Steve's position, and then it's the other guy, which I'd never watched any of his seasons, so I don't even know his name.
Yeah.
I think Joe is the second guy.
Yeah.
He's Steve's cousin Joe, and
Yeah.
I don't know what the other guy's name is. But both of them are almost a little bit too upbeat for me, and so I only let the kids watch the Steve ones. And then they also sing all differently.
Oh, okay.
So like, you could easily, in your head, I know that if I told you what's the Blue's Clues song, you're going to have a very specific one in mind. Different generations have different ones.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yep. So the kids that are a little bit older than me, or younger, sorry, a little bit younger than me, will have whatever Joe's was, because that's what was airing. And then the young kids have the newest guy, and he's very sing-songy.
Oh, okay.
I almost don't like it.
Yeah.
But I'm also used to Steve's.
Right.
So like his I'm trying to think of what one of the Blue's Clues.
The only one that's in my head is "We just got a letter."
Oh yeah, so be like, "We just got a letter. We just got a letter." His is like the newest guy's like, "We just got a letter."
That's awful.
It's so bad. It's oh god.
So he really gets into it.
He's
jiving
more
with his
power
bad
to
self.
him.
Yeah.
It's just not what I recognize as it, because I remembered it being so calm.
Yeah.
And then the new movie is all about this guy wanting to go to like Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
And so he's singing. It's something else.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So calm shows.
Calm shows. Those are the winners in our house.
Yeah, hi. This went from being a stay-at-home mom to activities that stay-at-home moms
do
find themselves doing.
Which is kind of being a stay-at-home mom.
It is.
Yeah. We find things that we got to do, and yeah.
What would you say is the most difficult part about being a stay-at-home mom?
The never-endingness of it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, she agrees too.
For me, I would argue that, like, not like arguing against what you said, but also like arguing for it per se, is the having to be responsible for everything.
And that's just, I don't think people understand that when you say that, it's literally everything. Like appointments, making sure the kids are dressed, making sure that did we stay on the bath schedule?
Yep.
Did we brush their teeth tonight? And it's not that, at least in my case, it's not that my husband doesn't do those things. It's just that's not at the forefront of his mind at all times.
Yep.
So I'm the one that's suggesting, hey, the kids need a bath today. He'll be more than happy to do it, but it's in my head. And so I think being a stay-at-home mom, it's less like physical work. Doing the dishes is easy. Doing the laundry is easy. Mopping the floor is easy. Those things are easy. Watching your kids, easy. Putting it all together and then also putting the mental load onto it, that's where being a stay-at-home mom is a challenge. And I don't want to go through the debate of which is harder, a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, because I think they're both hard in their own respects. Yeah. But yeah, being a stay-at-home mom is just always everything on your mind at all times. And I think that's also just being a mom in general.
Yeah.
Everything's just in your mind.
Exactly. And I mean, like, because like you were saying, each of those individual tasks on their own are fine. They're easy.
Right.
But dishes become really hard when you just did a load of dishes and now there's 3 more in there.
Yeah.
And then that 3 becomes an entire sinkful within a day.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck doing it all over again.
Right.
So it's not even just like, oh, I need to do the dishes. It's, I need to do the dishes every single day for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And same with the laundry. The laundry's never ending because you always have clothes on the kids or on you.
Yep.
So it's literally never ending.
Mm-hmm. And
which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's a lot after a while.
And it becomes a lot too, especially so like my daughter, my oldest, I say my daughter and I forget I have two of them.
Yeah. Because she's the baby.
Yeah, exactly. Be like my daughter, my son, my baby.
Yeah.
Duh. My oldest, she is now in ballet and gymnastics. She uses specific clothing. Now I don't fill up, they have a specific hamper. We have one of those like 4
Oh, that's right.
Sectioned hampers. And that just sits like in our entryway. That sounds weird unless you know the layout of our house.
Yeah, it did sound weird, but thinking of your house, it's not weird at all. It seems like that's where it goes.
Yeah. The entryway, you pass the entryway from the living room to where our laundry is. And so it's literally like I can grab it and just drag it with me type thing.
Right.
My house is just one big hallway.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. That's like kitchen and living room, entryway, bedrooms.
Yep.
With the laundry being in the hall to the bedrooms.
Yeah.
Literally.
Exactly.
One big hallway. But like, so their portion of the hamper doesn't fill up as fast. And so we only do it like once a week. The other day, it was ballet day. And we were like, where's her ballet stuff? In the bottom of the hamper.
Oh, no.
Because we hadn't cleaned it.
Right.
Because we hadn't done it yet. We were like, well, shit. And so we had to bust butt to get that done. And I swear we changed their kids' clothes like so much. Like, you know, Damon will leak through his diaper or Ellie will spit up on herself. Anna will accidentally dump cereal on herself. And like we're changing clothes all the time. But they're so tiny.
Right.
So
they don't take up that much room. I feel you.
We've actually decided we're going to start putting Anna's clothes in our hamper. Once so she can start separating because we do lights and darks.
Right.
We don't do the colored lights and darks. It's just lights and darks. And so she can start putting it in there, but then also so her clothes are getting cleaned faster.
Yeah. We do the same thing. And I have the problem of, I noticed that Quincy doesn't run out of clothes as fast as Maverick because she has more clothes, at least more clothes overall. Maverick may have more shirts than her, but whatever.
The clothes that they cycle through.
Yeah. And jammies. That's when like I realize, oh, I need to do their laundry. Their basket's not full, but we don't have jammies for them.
And one thing I've noticed too with Ellie having like, because she has a lot of hand-me-downs between both of them. The problem is like a lot of the girl jammies are the wrong season for her age because Anna and Ellie were born in opposite seasons. Ellie was born at the very beginning of summer and Anna was born, I mean, technically mid-fall, but like late November. It's cold.
Yeah.
And so she basically has like all the
fuzzy fleece.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then so her stuff when she was Ellie's age, 6 to 9 months old, is warm.
Right.
Or not warm, like summer.
Yeah.
Summery stuff. Whereas like now it's cold and I'm like, okay, well, she doesn't have anything. And a lot of Damon's jammies, like we have some in the size range, but we put him in just sweats a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so it just, and a lot of those sweats, he like are in like a weird spot now that I don't know where they are.
Oh, yeah.
Because they kind of just vanish. Kids' clothes just kind of go.
They do. They disappear.
Especially between children.
Yeah.
You put them in storage and then they're just poof gone.
Yeah. I noticed that she has a lot of jammies, but I also, sometimes we'll put her in jammies for bedtime and then an hour later she spits up on them or she has a poop explosion or something, And so then we have to put her in new jammies. He does not have that many jammies. So we're constantly going through hers.
Yeah.
All the time.
Damon 9 times out of 10, he has a couple pairs of like genuine actual jammies, but then he's mostly sweats.
Yeah.
Sometimes he doesn't wear anything. He just wears a diaper. And not by our choice. That's him.
Right.
He takes them off. He's like, no thanks.
Maverick does that sometimes too, but then he likes to take off his diaper.
Damon doesn't do that very often. Speaking of that, a recent mom fail. So Anna has a loft bed.
Right.
Okay. It comes.
She didn't fall off of it, did she?
No.
Okay.
Well, she has once.
Oh no.
Because but that's not the mom fail that I'm getting at. Damon climbed up there.
Oh.
And took his diaper off. And then proceeded to pee all over her bed.
Oh no.
God, that was awful. She literally comes out screaming because he ended up peeing on her too.
Oh no.
Because he just stood up there, took his diaper off, and then was like, oh, I need to pee. And then was just like, okay.
Fire hosing.
Yeah. And Jay got on her and she like comes out, Mom!
Oh no.
Starts screaming, freaking out. And she's just like, Damon peed on me. And I was like, what? How?
Yeah.
I come in there and he's standing on her bed and it's soaked and he's laughing.
Good times, good times.
Boys.
Yeah, boys are fun.
Boys.
Yeah, Michael. Okay. Maverick, he has found that he likes to play with himself. Mm-hmm. So that's why he takes off his diaper.
Yeah. They find that at a lot younger age than I was anticipating. Because
yeah, really
I thought
fun.
that was like 6 years old before I became a parent. Just period.
Right, yeah.
No. Nope.
Maverick's been doing that. Well, taking off his diaper's only been probably the last like 6 months. Mm-hmm. But the finding himself and exploring himself has been happening since he was very little. Mm-hmm. And it's just gotten more and more intense.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's very fun.
Boy mom.
Being a boy mom is great. So back to the whole stay-at-home mom thing. Mm-hmm. Have you been a working mom?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Kind of. Let me say kind of. Because I definitely wasn't working like a typical work week for being a working mom. I only worked like 1 day a week, which and it was only 6 hours. So really, no, not like a legit work mom. But I might have mentioned this in our first episode, but I don't remember if I did. I noticed that I knew that I had anxiety a lot with Maverick. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize how bad it was until I had her, Quincy. Mm-hmm. And so now looking back, I realized that probably should have sought some help there.
Yeah.
So work to me seemed impossible. Like, how could I possibly leave my baby? My baby will, in my head, I thought my baby would die without me, literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I worked myself back up to 6 hours a week, and that was horrendous for me. It still like ate me alive. So, talking with Michael and everything, he had wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom from the beginning. I said, well, I have to go back to work because that's what I've always done. I've always worked since I was 15. So I just, in my head, was like, no, I have to go back to work. And it took him being like, I want you to just be a stay-at-home mom. Do what you want to do. You want to be with your kids. It makes more sense for you to be home and for me to work, for me to actually go ahead with it and being a stay-at-home mom. So yeah. And now I'm kind of like, maybe I could have a job. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel less anxious, but I also understand that it makes more sense for me to be home than to like seek childcare elsewhere.
Yeah, because that's got to be the hardest part is that, unless we have like some insane degree, we're not going to be getting paid $30, $40 an hour, where, spending $1,000 a week on childcare makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess because I do have my nursing license. So
you can maybe make $30 an hour.
I could be making more. But I don't know. To me, like, Michael's kind of hinted at in the past that he would be okay with being a stay-at-home dad. I don't think he would in the end be okay with it. Not because he couldn't do it, but because he's a go kind of person. He needs to be going, which yes, you go when you're a stay-at-home mom, but you go in your house most of the time.
Yeah.
And I need to get out of the house. Sometimes he'll be like, let's have a lazy Sunday. Let's all just chill and watch movies and he'll be like half a movie in and he's like, I just need to get out of the house.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so it's not going to be a lazy Sunday. Cool.
Yep. Can confirm. I have heard him say stuff like that before.
Yeah. So,
well, like, I need to get out of the house, and then he goes to the gym.
Yeah. So I don't think that I don't know. I think he could do it, but I just don't think it would be for him. Whereas for me, I genuinely enjoy being at home with my kids.
Me too.
And yes, I may complain about some things sometimes, but I still, at the end of the day, I'm so grateful that Michael has made it possible for me to be a stay-at-home mom.
I feel that way about my husband too.
Yeah.
And you know, I get to do the things that I genuinely enjoy doing. Like I hated working. I've worked technically 2 different jobs as a mom. Mm-hmm. I worked at a daycare. It ended up being the same daycare that I was able to enroll my daughter in, but I was not in her room.
Right.
Was
that because you weren't allowed?
That's the thing is, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else kind of ended up in the rooms with their kids if they had kids there, except me, which was weird.
Okay.
Literally.
Weird.
If anybody had a kid, they got to be in the room with their kid if they wanted to. There were a couple instances where that wasn't the case, but it was more so because they preferred that age group. And it wasn't that they didn't need a teacher in the age group that my daughter was in, because they did. I don't know why they didn't have me do it, because I had a kid in that age group. So it's not like I couldn't handle that age group.
Right.
But whatever.
Yeah.
My daughter was like 1 at the time.
Oh, okay.
I loved her teacher. I am still friends with her.
Yeah.
To this day. Hi, Leanne.
Is she the one that came to her first birthday?
Yes. She has another baby now.
Aww.
Just a little bit younger than Quincy.
Aww.
And she's adorable. Or a little bit older. Hold on.
November.
A little bit older. I think literally just before you.
Okay.
So would have been a little older.
Okay.
A little older. She's adorable.
Aww.
I love Leanne so much. Loved her then, love her now. So hi, Leanne. Anna still remembers her, and it's the cutest thing.
Oh, that's cool.
It's amazing. But so I wasn't necessarily worried about her, because I started becoming friends with Leanne really, really quickly. Mm-hmm. So I was not concerned. It was a little bit sad that I didn't get to be in her room. And when I first got that job, I cried.
Oh.
I felt like I had failed, and that we had failed as a family, mm-hmm. because we needed the money at the time. Right. We couldn't not work. Mm-hmm. Stupidly enough, it ended up being that we weren't making enough money like that, because I still had to pay childcare. Oh. I got a discount. Yeah. But it ended up being close to half of my paycheck. Mm-hmm. And so I was working 40 hours a week, getting paid like $14.50 an hour, and paying like $800 for childcare at a place that, like, I mean, funny enough, had I been in her room, mm-hmm. I would have been paying to watch my own kid.
True.
And for those that are, and for those that are having their kid in their room, that is their reality.
Weird.
And so, like, even if they were the one watching their own kid, mm-hmm. they still had to technically pay for childcare.
Interesting. I mean, it makes sense because it's in their facility, but you would think because the mom's watching them that it shouldn't count.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it ended up not making sense for us to continue having her there and to continue having that job. And we decided after I got pregnant with Damon that we were just going to stop, because I really wanted to be with Anna. She was my firstborn. Right. I had a really hard time thinking about, like, the fact that she wasn't going to be my only baby anymore, mm-hmm. and that I had spent the previous 6 months being away from her for 40 hours. Right. And now I was going to be bringing another baby, and I had a really mentally hard time with that. And so I ended up leaving very shortly after finding out that I was pregnant with Damon. And I wanted to stay home with her, and we did the math, and we were like, we're really not bringing home a lot. Yeah. We're only bringing home a few $100 in a single month.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of how it is for 2 working households. Unless you both have really good jobs, it seems like just the one person who's making less is the one that's working to pay for the childcare. Yeah. So, which I understand, some people just don't want to be home. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be home. Not necessarily like they hate their kids or something, but they they have that personality where they just need to be doing something for themselves and out in the world and whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's totally fine. To me, it wasn't worth it to have us both working and just be paying for childcare that I don't want my kids to go to anyway.
Yep. No, I kind of felt the same way. And I felt like at that point I worked more mm-hmm. than I was home with her, but I wasn't bringing home enough to make that matter. Right. Yeah. And I mean, for some people, they don't have a choice. Mm-hmm. For some people, they need that extra $400 a month or whatever it ends up being in their case. That is literally making or breaking their family. So I completely get it, and my condolences out for, the people that have to handle that, mm-hmm. because that sucks. And those people don't, they probably are dealing with that same anxiety and, probably even a little bit of depression because they don't have a choice. They have to do that. Yeah. So I know that it is a luxury. to be able to afford it.
Right.
I also know that there are a lot of instances where it is quite literally impossible in certain areas because childcare is so expensive that it is more than someone's paychecks.
Right.
And it's like, it's, you know, I've heard people be like, oh, well, if you can't afford it, just go get a different job. It's like, you have to qualify.
Yeah. You can't just go get a different job, especially you can't easily go get a different job if you don't have like certain degrees or licensure or certifications or.
Yeah. Because it's not like I can just like, if I want a $30 an hour job, where the hell am I supposed to find a $30 an hour job?
Right.
Exactly. I have no credentials
right.
to get me those.
Yeah.
I have a bachelor's degree, but that doesn't award me a $30 an hour job.
Right. You don't have that degree and automatically you're like, okay, now you have to pay me a lot more.
Exactly.
It's whatever they're offering. And if you don't have the qualifications for a job that pays that much, then
yeah,
I guess you're SOL.
Yeah. Like, for example, my mom has a law degree. She's a paralegal degree, specifically. Paralegals don't get paid jack shit.
I didn't know that.
Some get like 22.
Okay.
Some.
Right.
Most are in the teens.
Yeah.
And that is a master's degree that my mom has. I'm pretty sure, or maybe just a bachelor's, but still, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, now she's working on, I believe, a master's in clinical psychology or something like that.
Okay.
But like they don't, like, even having a major degree can get you only like in the teens or like low 20s. But in certain areas that have like thousands of dollars a month in childcare, sometimes that is literally your paycheck or more. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, what is the point of going to work to pay for childcare?
Right.
If that's all you can pay for, especially.
Yeah.
If you will then owe still more on top of your paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, at that point, just go home.
Right. Just stay home.
Because you save money.
Yeah. But I do understand the people that they just can't stay home.
Yeah.
Like, they mentally, it's bad for them to just stay home all the time with the kids.
Yes. Gosh, it's so hard because I know that, like, I have so much anxiety with it. Sometimes it can be so chaotic where I'm losing my mind during the day.
Yeah. I definitely have I am losing my shit.
Like, it was when I think Thomas was working nights and I was over here. Remember that time that I left and I was just crying because I was so overwhelmed?
So overwhelmed. Well, I don't know how you were even functioning.
I don't know.
You were with
so
them
hard.
all day and all night.
Literally 24/7. I was the only person doing anything because my husband worked nights.
Right.
And so during the night when they were asleep, he was gone. And so if they woke up in the middle of the night, I had to
you were the one
deal with them
doing
myself.
Yeah.
And then during the day, I either had to not be home or they had to be quiet so he could sleep.
Right. Yeah.
That was so I was coming over here.
Yeah. Which, I mean, shout out to all the single moms.
I don't know how they do that.
I tell my mom that all the time because my mom was a single mom until...
So was mine.
How old was I? 6? 7?
Oh, when they got together?
When she got together with my dad.
All I know is I was 5 when they got married.
I think I was 6 when they... Well, maybe I was 7. Anyway, around there. So for the first,
2-ish.
like, 6-7 years of my life, she was a single mom. And she was a full-on working single mom, which, I mean, I guess you have to be when you're the only one bringing in income. And, I mean, looking back at my childhood, I didn't suffer with my mom being a single parent, single income. And I think she did a fantastic job. And I tell her now that I'm a parent, I'm like, you did the damn thing, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, especially, too. Like, I live for when Thomas comes home. Because I'm like...
You have the reprieve.
I get to poop in peace.
Yes. Literally.
That's probably my favorite part.
Oh, yeah. Honestly.
It's just like, hey, I'm going to go disappear for like 5-10 minutes. I need a couple minutes. Sometimes it's like a half an hour and I'm just sitting here because I need a minute.
Yep. I literally will tell Michael, he'll get home and I'm like, I have to poop so bad. I need you to watch the kids. And after I poop, I'm going to take a shower because the shower that I took earlier was like a 2-second.
Yep. Just to make sure I don't stink.
Yeah. Just wash the pits really fast, wash the crotch, and then get out.
Yep.
Yeah. So I definitely look forward to when the husband comes home. And single parents, kudos to you because I don't know how you do it.
I don't know. It's so hard. And I can only imagine how... Because there are some people that I'm friends with who are single parents, some of them recent, and they're trying to figure out how to manage it.
Right.
And there's one girl that I know who's like, her ex is making it so hard. he basically forced her to move to a different state because he took the kids after they split, not divorced and no parenting plan, went and took them to a different state and then filed in that state.
Oh.
And so if she wanted to see her kids more often, she had to move to that state because they had jurisdiction.
That's terrible.
Oh, yeah. It was, she got like the worst luck possible.
That is awful.
Yeah. And she's just still struggling with it. And he makes it really hard for her. So I can only imagine that, like, on top of not only are you single and you have to pay for all this stuff yourself now, so you're being a single income family while also single parenting.
Yeah.
But then also having a shitty ex on top of it. I feel like it's just like the cherry on top of a really shitty cake.
Yeah. One thing my mom did say, though, is that, and it does make sense, is she had to figure it out. Yeah. So to her, that was her hard. Like when we had our firstborns, we had our hard. But for her, that was just her hard. So it wasn't, she never knew anything else.
Yeah.
And then she said it was actually almost harder when she had my brother with my dad, because now she had to have somebody else's opinion matter. Whereas before she did it completely herself.
Yeah.
And so it was just, she made the rules, she made the schedule, it was up to her to figure it out. And now it's like, oh, you also have an opinion too, because this is also your kid.
Funny enough, and I say this, I was a teenager when I thought this, and I do not think this now. Okay? But I thought this once upon a time. My mom had mentioned when I was like, oh, how do you feel being a single mom? Like, do you like it? And she was like, well, I don't have to ask anyone's opinion. And I got to name me whatever I wanted. And I was like, I hope I'm a single mom someday so that it's just whatever I say goes.
Right.
Definitely don't think that now.
Yeah.
Back then, I also wanted to name my child Secret. So
Secret?
Secret.
Like secret deodorant?
Yeah. Again, I was like 13, okay? I had some weird names going on back then.
That's funny.
I had just met somebody whose mom was named Whisper, and I was like, the cool name.
Yes. Like the celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God. That's not me anymore.
I'm glad you didn't name Anna Secret.
I mean, she has a weird name, but it's not like that.
No.
I would say Andromeda, it's at least a real name.
Yeah. There's multiple people that have that name.
Yes, it's also the name of a Greek goddess.
Right.
So it's like, it's legit. It is a genuine registered name. Eleva is not, but at least it sounds like a real name.
Yeah.
Because it's derivative
you
of
call
Lelena.
Both of them common names. Ellie, Anna.
But yeah, so overall, it's like, I mean, this wasn't like a super stay-at-home mommy type episode, but I mean, at the same time it was. We, between us, I think we've kind of at least experienced a wide-ish experience of being a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, or a part-time working mom for you.
Yeah.
And, it's hard no matter what you do. And I think that everybody deserves, a good amount of credit for what they do, no matter what that looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, like you were saying, everybody's got their own hard.
Yes, definitely.
Yep. So that was this week's episode. We're still trying to get back in the swing of things. So sorry if things are a little bit awkward. We got real good at this when we were doing it every week. And
now we're trying to get back into it. Now we have video.
Yes, which is also
I'm
awkward.
an awkward turtle, so excuse that. And I noticed through Kaylee's editing of our last video, I tend to have a resting bitch face, and I apologize. I do genuinely care about what she's talking about. I just apparently don't show that on my face all the time.
Yes, I promise we are really good friends.
Yeah.
And we do care about what we're saying. Sometimes, though, I will say, we have to say things more than once.
Right.
And so sometimes it's like, okay, I just said this, or I just heard you say this.
Yeah.
And because like the kid will scream and it'll get interrupted. And so we apologize for things like that where maybe it looks a little awkward.
Yeah.
I think it'll get better though once the kids get a little bit older, or if we can just like get this down where like they're napping at the same time.
Yeah.
I think then we'll be able to, the quality will get better. So hopefully at minimum, you at least like the sounds that we have for you, and that it is better than our low-key, high-key, terrible audio from before.
Yeah, no, we're trying our best. There's just a lot of kinks that we'll have to work out and awkwardness that we'll have to get past.
Yes.
But I guess we will see you guys in the next one.
Yep. See you in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, whatever you're doing if you're on the YouTube, and make sure that you subscribe to wherever you're listening to on the podcast, and follow us on our social medias that are in the description or on the screen if you are watching YouTube.
Yes. All right.
And we will see you next time, whenever that is.
Yes. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.